everyone. Welcome to I Created a Life I Love. This is Christine Spindler Denton with
Jeanette Rodriguez.
Who we are here. Welcome, welcome. We are so glad to have you guys with us. It's been a hot minute for us, so this is going to be fun because we have a lot of catching up to do. So it'll be very, very good. I guess we can jump right in with our what's up. So, Jeanette, you want to go first?
Sure, yeah. So I am exploring my city and Las
Nice,
Vegas, Nevada. As
nice.
I mentioned before, that I have recently moved to Las Vegas and I'm just going on explorations. I have been taking drives here and there, and sometimes even drives without any destination. So it's been really rewarding because I don't know much outside of the strip, and just seeing even seeing the perspective of my town from a different point of viewpoint, and it's been amazing, and it's so beautiful just to see how it looks like, because I'm constantly looking to the east and now looking at the west and the sun, the sunset. It's just amazing.
That's so cool. I mean, I would have no idea. Well, I guess I could say this much that we were in Vegas. Oh my God, that's a story. My oldest daughter, for her softball, she's a softball pitcher, and she actually, was recruited and went to college pitching. And so on one of her travel ball teams, we were in Vegas for a tournament, and it was so hot. It was so scary because like they didn't even start until, I mean, they tried to do early morning, right? And then you take a break in the at midday, and then they'd come back even in the evening. And they did all this stuff to keep the girls, but it didn't matter. It was still so hot. I mean, it's Vegas, and it was
Yeah.
still so hot. She ended up like having to pitch. She had pitched amazing. I said, "We're going to put you in extreme heat all the time." But I just remember she pitched amazing. And she had to pitch multiple games because the other pitcher on our team, I think, was injured at that time or couldn't come to the tournament. I don't even remember. But so she was kind of on her own. I think there was one other pitcher, but she was pitching most of it, and she did amazing. So I said, "We're gonna put you in extreme extreme heat all the time." But other than that, I have never been to Vegas, any part of Vegas other than the Strip.
Oh, yeah, yeah, same, before I moved here. And
Exactly.
now, yeah, it's and understanding all the different suburbs that are around. So there's Henderson, there's Summerlin, there's the north, there's the east side. There's just so many different areas all over all over Vegas. So it's been rewarding, definitely has.
That's so cool. Now, are you doing that with your husband, or are you going off on your own?
Well, he's working. So I've been taking, after I finish helping him or doing, things around the house, I go and I take off by myself. And it's really nice. Put on some good music or even a podcast
Yeah,
and
right.
drive around.
Yeah, that's so great. No, that's wonderful. I really love exploring new cities. I don't feel when I moved here because it was a city I kind of knew. And so when I moved, I only moved, 15, 20 minutes away from my other house, right? So I don't feel that I really took the time to get to know the city, and I think it's really fun and interesting to do that. I think people don't do that enough, in my opinion, or maybe it's just me. Maybe all of you out there, are out there exploring your cities. I did not. And so my girlfriend and I are actually going on a walk or a hike or something one time a month. And then we go to a different breakfast spot. So we're
Oh,
doing that
wow.
one Sunday a month and finding cool, fun, different breakfast spots in the city where I've moved to. So that's really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's fantastic. And it's really fun. The other aspect that I love about that, I've been writing a lot lately because I'm working on a project. And I did it when I traveled in Europe of going and having no problem. Like when you travel alone, I traveled with my daughter for part of a trip and then we split. And then I was alone for about 6 days. And you have no problem when you're in another country or traveling or going like that to go out to a restaurant on your own or to go out to a coffee place on your own because there's no one else there with you, right? If
Yeah.
you travel it all alone. So it doesn't feel weird to go do that. But it is funny how then you get home and then you feel weird. So I have been also pushing myself at least one time a month to go out and go to a coffee shop or a restaurant or something along those lines completely on my own, some activity completely on my own and go do that as well.
Oh, I love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
That
and I
yeah.
think you really get to you people watch, right?
Yeah.
It for me, I'm writing, it forces me to write because if I do start feeling awkward that everyone is talking to the people they're with and I'm just sitting there alone, like you don't want to just sit and stare at people, right? So you actually write. So I've been getting
Yeah.
a ton of writing done, but also when I do take a break or get up and get another cup of coffee or, whatever, I just really enjoy people watching and just looking at the place that I'm in. And, it just really gives you a chance to enjoy your environment. So I'm so proud of you. I think that's wonderful to get to know your
Yeah.
city. Yeah,
Yeah,
very
and
cool.
how about you? What's up with you?
Well, this was our hard week. This was our week that you and I talked about this a little bit, but we did lose Shadow. So Shadow is my elderly puppy. I will share the story that I never go to Petco. We all have always gotten our food from another source or delivered or something. But we were really short one day. The kids, it was just a crazy situation as a single parent, I was dealing with two different schedules over the weekend of who was getting to what game and what event or what play. And I was stressed out. I forgot about dog food. And so I had to run down like early on a Saturday morning. So I got there early before they opened and I was waiting for them to open so I could just run in, get some food and get back home. And as I did, a mom and her daughter were coming up and they brought the dog in and they were giving the dog away. And the girl was really, really sad. You could tell. And and the mom looked very stressed out. And there's no judgment here at all. I did learn a little bit of their story, and it was a very sad situation for everyone involved. There was no one being cruel, you know what I mean, and unkind. And so I saw them bring the dog in the store, and they were kind of asking if someone could help them. And maybe the Petco wasn't the best choice of where they should go, but again, no judgment because they were in a very bad situation and leaving pretty quickly. Anyway, so I just said, "Here, I'll take him. I will take him." We had at that point two other dogs, but I was just like, there's no way I'm not leaving here with that dog, and maybe I'll find someone to take him and foster him for a while. Well, of course, he became a part of our family forever, and so he stayed with us, and he was our little old man. He was just such a quiet, like, just it was always really cute when he ever got excited and started kind of howling. He was like a pit lab mix on the smaller side, but he was such a calm, just did his own thing, wanted to be loved, like, was very, very loving, but just this calm, gentle dog. And so it was always so cute when he would get riled up and get all excited and kind of start prancing around and, howling and stuff because he didn't do it very often. So it was very, very cute. But yeah, we had him in the old house for years and years. And then now since I've moved, it's been about 3 years that he was here. So it happened pretty quickly. The good news was that even with all my and the sad thing is going through the cancer surgeries, which, so on that note, I am still home healing from my cancer surgeries. Getting stronger every day. Have had a couple of setbacks, but we're still recovering from surgery number 2, and he was just always there. Like, he would come up on my bed and be by my side, and he's just been very steadfast love coming from him getting through these surgeries and while I've been home. So the timing of it happening right now, it's really, really hard. The
Yeah.
house seems extremely empty at the moment, even though I have a 170 pound crazy one still roaming around behind me. But yeah, it's really, really hard. Lots of tears, lots of crying. But the day he died, I've put down so many dogs at this point because we would foster elderly dogs for years and years that, well, I would. And, um, and dogs who were sick and stuff, just to give them the best kind of transition I could and the best end of their days that I could give them. And gosh, is it weird in the fact that I really believe they know, and they just know. And something got me to go that day to the park, and I haven't been taking them. We're doing a lot of little things in my backyard and being there, but I just haven't. Some days I'm just not strong enough and able to do that. But that day I was like, I'm going to drive to this little park where there aren't, because my other dog, the one I still have, Zito, is very reactive. So I have to be very careful about where I am, especially in the physical state that I'm in. And Shadow got along with everyone, but I chose a park and said, we're going to go there today because it's, no one ever goes there. It's a great little spot. It's kind of like a secret spot. It's not that pretty or amazing or anything. So a lot of people don't bring their dogs there, but it's a great kind of open area. And I have to still keep them on their leash, but I hadn't gone there. I can't even tell you the last time. But whatever it was inside me was just like, we're gonna go there, and we go, and then I have pictures of him, and that's the picture that we'll use, we'll talk about that later, but of him the whole ride home, he put, he just had his nose up to the sun at the park the whole time, and then the whole ride home, he usually would not stick his head out the window and do that, and he just had his head out the window the whole ride home. Didn't wanna get out in the car at the very end, and yeah, then 2 days later after that is when he stopped eating and, was, right after that, and then it was about 2, 3 days after that day that we put him down, so,
Yeah.
yeah. So that's our sad moment, but I know he's got a whole tribe with him, I'll tell you that. We've got so many of our puppies up in my dog heaven, as I call it. So there's a whole gang of dogs out there. They got a pack for sure. So that's the good news. So there you go. But it's been really fun remembering all the good stuff and talking to my daughters and stuff on the phone because they couldn't, come back. But about all the fun little memories and looking back at some pictures and them cuddling with him and all of that. So you remember all the good stuff. So and he definitely got me through that first surgery of cancer and through recovery of the first couple of days of the second one. So I wouldn't have made it through without him. So he was my angel. So that's very good.
Yeah, and he continues to be.
Yeah. No. Yep. Exactly. Exactly. Alrighty. Well, moving on and kind of switching topics before so none of us start crying here. We'll go to our topic of the day. And what we're talking about this month, which I think is going to be really, really fun, is judgment. And I think there's so many different ways of looking at judgment and different types of judgment. And I don't think we realize how much we judge things. And we're not talking about like, let's put shame on everyone and feeling bad and don't judge and the normal don't judge other people. We'll talk about that too, but in a very different way. But what we're really trying to do and talk to you about is that anytime that you have any judgment on anything, that it's good or bad, you're immediately taking away your power and you're taking away your ability to be objective and look at a situation and accept a situation. And I believe, and Jeanette's going to jump in with her thoughts, with her agree or disagree. It's all about acceptance when you are on this planet. I think it's about accepting others. I think it's about accepting situations when they happen to you
Mhm.
because if you're fighting wishing for things to be different, wishing for people to be different, wishing for this not to have happened or that not to have happened, if you spend all your time in that place, you are in no way being grateful or joyful and enjoying what you have in front of you. You can't do both and feel both at the same time. So today we're talking about how important all of that is in relation to yourself.
Yes,
So,
yeah.
how you have to really, really accept yourself with all the faults, with all the good, with all the bad, and be able to see all of that in yourself, not fake, not, oh, I have to be fake positive or I have to be, you know, always up and bubbly and whatever. If you're feeling low, take a moment and let that feeling happen. What you find when you do that is that feeling will go away. When you give it its moment, when you take a moment and stop and feel sad and feel that sadness, like when I was dealing with this loss of shadow, for example, I just stopped and let myself really feel the moment and cry it out. And what immediately comes, or I shouldn't say immediate, but pretty quickly came was just love. Like then
Mhm,
you just start feeling all the love. And that comes with the sadness that he's not physically here anymore. But that love is all still there. And so I think you need to allow everything to be within yourself, and whatever emotions you need to go through, whatever growth you need to go through, you need to accept it. And the fighting against it and the wishing things were different about yourself, wishing this body part was different, wishing that the way you talk is different, just wishing any part of yourself is different, it takes away all, it's just, it just kills you. It really does, because it just
mhm.
takes away all of your power, all of your ability to bring yourself joy.
Yeah, no, and the saying goes is you are your biggest critic, and that is very, very true. Just mentioning how my previous position, I was always constantly thinking I was an imposter and I had the imposter syndrome, and always thinking I wasn't good enough, or, why am I in the position I was in? And always, kind of in that negative mindset in my, frame.
Yeah.
And I would always have to, like, okay, if I'm such a good preacher of saying growth mindset, I need to use it for myself too. It's like kind of like practice what you preach,
There you go.
because it's really, you could say all these different things, but actually implementing them for yourself, that's where the real work comes in, and you definitely have to, you know, remember that you're growing, you're learning, you're going to make mistakes. Things are not going to be perfect. And, like with situations that are bad or sad, like you said, they're all learning experiences. But it's hard. It's hard when you're in the moment too.
Oh, I agree. But I think too, we forget. And so as educators right now, Jeanette and I'm going to jump on that horse for just a second here, because, and Jeanette's going to know what I speak of, is that one of the biggest things that we teach to our kids is that failure is a step, is a step. It's part of success. No
Yes.
one does anything, or very rarely, let's say just very rarely are you going to pick up a new skill like writing, like podcasts, like biking, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, like tennis, like golf, like whatever you're doing, anything you're doing new, are you going to pick it up and be great at it? And we tell this to our kids all the time. It takes practice, right? It takes practice. It takes work to get good at something, to play the piano, to draw, to paint,
Yeah.
anything that you're doing. It doesn't mean you're not an artist. It doesn't mean you're not creative because the first thing that you write sucks. It doesn't mean that you're not a fantastic artist because your first 10 paintings aren't,
Hmm.
Picasso. That's not how humans learn. That's not how we work. We fail at things. We fail. And the point is that judging yourself and being that critic, like, oh, you're just a failure because
Hmm.
you failed. I mean, we don't allow our kids to do that. At least as teachers, as educators, we would never allow when a child was learning math or learning to write a, full paragraph or whatever we're teaching them, or doing a science experiment or whatever, and it doesn't go right, the first thing that we're saying to them as teachers and as educators is that's okay. Let's figure out what your mistake was. Let's look at what you have, and then let's figure out how we can then make it into a success. How do we change, fix whatever went wrong, and then set yourself up for success for the next time? How are we going to do it different when we try again? And
Yes.
there's never like you're just done the first time. And yet I think we get to being adults and if we're not good, like whatever that voice in their head has said to you, "Oh, I'm not good at this," or "I can't do that," we don't challenge that voice, and that's the problem. That voice is not you. That voice is not your soul. That voice is not your spirit. That voice that says you suck at this or you're no good at that, that's not you.
Mhm.
That's not the entity that came into your body and is living here, and you can challenge it at any time.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. I see it a little bit as it is a part of me, but it's a part that I want to make better or to, transform. And because I think, it's self-talk, right? It's that self-talk and how I can change that self-talk to be more motivating for myself. But, at the same time, it's like, okay, it's all kind of a mental game because, like, sometimes I'll start off in the negative where I'm talking, like, "Oh, I don't think I could do this. I can't, X, Y, and Z." And I'll give you a situation like hiking because I've been doing that. So hiking as far as going up really big boulders or, climbing that, and then I have no problem going up the boulders. Coming back down is where I get really freaked out. My hands start getting clammy and I'm like, "Oh no, I'm going to fall," because I have fallen multiple times.
Right.
And so when I'm coming down, it's just like, oh, I just imagine myself falling. And I'm like, okay, so that portion kind of prepares me like, okay, what do you do not to fall? So it is a part of me, like the negativity and stuff. And so I'm like, okay, well, the way you step down, like you got to do like side steps or you got to do X, Y, and Z. So yeah, I think it's both like that it's okay to have that negative side, but then just remember that to transform it to something different.
Well, what I would say, okay, so this is where, I'll jump into it now. So I'm gonna make it part of our topic day. But our monthly resource for this month is going to be Michael Singer, and it's The Untethered Soul. Okay, so
Mhm,
that's the book. And we have a couple, and I probably will bring up another book in 2 weeks too, because I've been diving in deep, people. I'm home and like getting better. And so there's so many amazing teachers out there that are incredible. And again, we share this with all of you so that you can pick and choose which works for you, like what author you like, what really speaks to you. There's so many different great leaders out there, and just spiritual guides, and just people motivating people. And everyone finds the one that kind of works for them, right? Like that's what you do. Just like you pick out things you like, things that you don't. And so, Michael Singer's book, The Untethered Soul, and then he has like a follow up, like companion type of thing. But what that's a book you got to read, all about the mind, because what it's really talking about is that your mind is separate. Your mind is something that is trained by your
mhm,
soul, your spirit, as much as like you train your hand, as much as you train anything else. It doesn't mean those words are coming from you, and you can trick your mind. And
mhm,
so you have to understand that that mind can't be you if you can trick that mind by yourself, from yourself. That means that there's a separation there. Do you know what I'm
mhm,
saying? That there's
mhm,
a
mhm,
separation from the actual brain part of your mind, right? If you think of the color blue, blue, blue before you walk out the door, you're going to pick up on everything blue, and you're going to
mhm,
do that. That doesn't mean that you are telling your brain, like, that's not your, that's just because their brain is a tool, right? It's
mhm,
just a tool, just like anything else. So your great advice it on the if your mind starts giving you the negative, at least make sure you counteract it with the positive is exactly right because you train your
Mhm,
mind. You
mhm,
decide. And the more that you keep saying the negative, the more that your brain is going to go, oh, this is what she wants me to do. You know what I mean?
mhm,
Then you
mhm,
don't even think about it. It just becomes what your brain starts thinking of when it gets up in the morning. Just like if you say blue, 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 it's just, it wants me to see blue. She wants me to see blue. I'm going to go find blue. She's talking negative. I'm going to give her more negative. Do you know what I mean? That your
mhm,
brain
mhm,
is actually trained for exactly whatever you train it to do. So your point, I think, is a beautiful one, which is when your mind starts doing that and doing those negative, 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 make sure
mhm.
you counter them with, okay, but what if this, and this happens instead? You know?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
The brain is an amazing thing.
It is. It's just the book, The Untethered Soul, is really interesting how he goes into training your mind and use your mind and not when your mind starts rethinking the same thought over and over again about a fight you had or and making, going, oh my God, why did I say that? Why did I do that? And again, getting all negative and being that critic on yourself, how you have to, all right, all right, that's fine. Like, and then go, but what if? You know what I mean? But what if I can use that now moving forward to make us closer? Like, what if I can call that friend and something really positive and great could come from this? Like, what make sure you try and flip all the situations that it's not of, oh my God, it's the end of the world, the relationship's over factor, but it also could flip in a positive factor. And so giving the positive as much time in your brain, like you were saying, as the negative, I just think that's brilliant. I think that's really, really good. And how you worded it, I thought was that great. Make sure you see the other side.
Oh, yeah, yeah. And that fear, I'm telling you, the older you get, the more fears you get. I don't, I was so fearless. I'm not, I skydive, like I did everything, crazy out there. And now I can barely go down a boulder. I'm like, what's going on? Like, my palms are like sweating. And I'm just, yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, and I think it's again facing those fears, like fighting it, right? Because your brain will tell you, you know what I mean? Again, it's
Mhm.
combating that, right? It
Yeah.
is. It's hard. It is not easy. I agree with you. I think parts of me, because I'm much older than you, have gotten much more accepting. Like I think I accept my body now much more than I did when I was younger. I was so critical of myself and my body and weight and all of that. And just I wasn't, pretty enough or good looking enough. And just how I looked in general, like it was always a struggle. And now I'm having to start all over again with this new body I'm gonna have. Like, it's funny because I kind of feel like I finally got to the point in my 50s where I did accept my body as it was. It wasn't perfect, but it was fine, and I was very grateful to still be here and working out and you know what I mean, and able to do the physical things and travel that I wanted to do. That the little imperfections or the extra 5 or 10 pounds, like I was laughing at them because I'm like, it doesn't matter. It just doesn't
Mhm.
matter. And I was in such a better place with my body right before I was diagnosed with cancer. And so now I'm going to be again, I think, but again, I think that's the timing and that's the not judging. And it's just the acceptance of, okay, this means I get to see if that's really true, right? I get to see if I've come all the way of really accepting my body in whatever states it is in and loving my body for exactly what it is and
Mhm.
exactly how it looks, scars and all, you know, not misshapen from so many surgeries and all of that. And I think that that's going to be instead of being sad about that or negative about that again and not accepting it and wishing it were different, I'm not judging it, and I'm just saying, "Okay, I accept that it's my body is gonna now go through a huge, huge change,
Mhm.
and I'm gonna find the positives in it." I'm gonna definitely mourn the loss of parts that have been taken away, just like losing a limb. I think when you lose parts of your body, it's just you have to go through that mourning period and that change of how your body was and how it's going to be, and allow yourself to feel whatever that is the way that you do it. But then I think you have to see the other side of it too, which is the acceptance and what if. What if I fit better into this? Or what if I'm ever to wear these kind of clothes now instead of that kind of clothes? And that might be fun. And I'm going to have a completely different perspective on, because my body's going to be very different of what I might like in clothing. And it could be a fun adventure. And I think, again, it's just about not judging, it's just about acceptance. And once you accept it, I think you're able to see the good,
Mhm.
or the possibilities, let's say, as you were saying, like, just look at the other side. I think you're able to see the possibilities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. So we'll
Love and
see.
know
But
that.
hopefully, our challenge for you this week is that you will try and stop that critic in your head from being overwhelming. Separate who you are from just the brain, just spewing words. Challenge what those words are. Accept, right? Accept yourself. Let yourself fail. Do things where you fail, and that's okay. And don't put yourself in situations that you might fail in because you're scared. Go and try them and accept yourself and love yourself through failures, and you'll probably have a lot more fun, is what I would say. Messing things up sometimes and failing things sometimes have been some of the most hysterical moments in my life, I will tell you that. And it wasn't the end of the world. It wasn't the end of the world whatsoever. So, accept yourself this week, people, as much as you can. And then we already mentioned our monthly resource is the Michael Singer book, The Untethered Soul. And I don't have it right here, but there is a book that goes with it, like Living Untethered, I think is the name of it. But he has a very unique insight. He quotes a lot of scripture, he quotes a lot of Buddhist teachings. What else? There's a number of different teachers that he quotes and uses and works from, which I love. So try that out. I think it's a great book. He also has a podcast. So he hasn't recorded a new one in quite a while, but the old ones are really interesting and good. But I do think you kind of have to read the book to really get the whole idea of what he's talking about before you listen to those. But you do you. So do it in whatever order you want. So, how about our moment of joy? What's your moment of joy this week, Jeanette?
So, as I
So,
was mentioning, as far as going out into nature and seeing what's around me and exploring, I have a picture of the Red Rock Canyon, and it's
Oh,
just gorgeous. It's gorgeous.
beautiful.
There's snow all over the Red Rock. It's just, the contrasting of the red and the white and speckles of green. It's just beautiful. And, you wouldn't expect snow in the surrounding areas of Vegas, but it gets really cold. It does. And it's gorgeous.
That's a good. No, I wouldn't. I did not think of snow in Vegas, but yeah, that's
How
very
about
cool.
you, Christine? What is your
Mine
moment
would
of
be
joy?
I'm gonna put up my picture of Shadow. So we'll pick up the picture of Shadow. I did snap a picture, which again was rare and weird for me. That when we stopped, or as we were driving and stopped at a light, I turned real quick and snapped a picture of him just with his head in the sun, out the window, our shadow. And so that was his last car ride home. So that's my moment of joy. So please make sure everyone else, please share a moment of joy that you have had this week or this month. It doesn't have to be any specific type of picture. Jeanette has found landscape, and I'm looking at an animal one. So, it's all different. Whatever brings you joy this week, just take a picture of it and help remind you. Hopefully, put it up on you know, your screen somewhere so you can be reminded of some joy that you do have in your life to bring you more joy. but you can always email your pictures and your moment of joys to I created a life I love at gmail.com. And
Yes,
then,
please do so.
yay.
Yeah,
And
yes.
then our Monday Minute, that one's from me. We're going to get some Monday Minutes from Jeanette too. But this one, I was down at the ocean. So I felt good enough and felt like I needed to get out one day after Shadow had died, and I was sad, and I just felt like, I needed a bigger scope and a bigger picture, and you just, to make yourself feel a part of all of it. And the ocean always does that for me and gives me more of a sense of, we're never really gone and all of our energy is still here. So there's an
Yes.
ocean minute. Remember, we just do a little cute saying that might be motivational words for you. And we put it over some great nature moment with, so you get the sound of the waves on the one. And we release that every Monday. So use it throughout your day to reground yourself, to get yourself refocused on you and what your intention for the day is. Remember, we all start out kind of with a great intention of how we want to have a joyful day, and that can get sidetracked by other people, by situations. And it's
Oh, yeah.
always a good idea to just stop and take a moment here or there throughout your day to take a breath or two and refocus and make sure that, remember, it's your day. This is your life. And make sure you're bringing yourself joy.
Loving it. Love it. And also, what do we have for next week?
Let's see. Our topic. Let's
I know you
see.
like this one.
Oh my goodness. You guys are going to have to bear with me. You're going to have to bear with me. This is all about embracing non judgments of others, but specifically, we're going to kind of focus on social media. And if you want to hear my rant, come on back, is what I would say.
It's a good
'Cause
one.
Jeanette,
It's a good one.
yeah, because Jeanette has heard it, and I have a whole plan to fix the world. So if you wanna come back and hear what that is, like, yes, please come back and you'll hear how we are gonna talk about how do you bring non-judgment into social media and in your daily life when, we all use social media. So, that'll be very, very interesting. All right, we do also have a new blog up. So go to our website, I created a life I love.com. Obviously, our podcast can be heard on Spotify and YouTube, or up on YouTube, and all of our Monday minutes that we are just mentioning. The last one is of an ocean and waves crashing. So it's really pretty relaxing sound. They are all up as shorts on YouTube as well. And all of our social media, everything is at I created a life I love. So find us on all of those various factors. If you also want to get any of our t-shirts or mugs, I was going to have my I created a life I love coffee mug here and I forgot it this morning, but I will bring it next one. But you can also look at all of those. Those are all up on Etsy.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Bye. Have a great day,
Bye.
everybody.